Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Change into digital champions to save the digital world. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon. This just in! Irony escapes merchant named Musk as he calls the personal pension plan the Ponzi scheme. Suggest meme coin with no market cap, the equivalent of selling sand in his hair instead. Hate spotted with track marks on tricep. From a mania to roid rage, this half-pence pimp is on tour. Back in my day, they didn't have no fancy cat sidekicks to accompany you on Monster Hunter. The cat would just drive the car when you got knocked out. That's it. Kids these days don't know how good they got it. I love how the new Monster Hunter look like washed out colorless slop, like a lot of the modern games do, but then you beat the main storyline and the color pops out. It's a great mechanic. Like, just kidding, it's peak. I've been so sloppy recently. I apologize for the mediocre episodes. Get back on it. Thinking harder. Some days, some weeks you're just not thinking good. Some days you're not thinking good. And then it just floods on you. The goal is to try and synchronize that wavelength to the point where, like, you're storing up for that period. You're writing it out appropriately. You're minimizing the downward swing, and that a good way of doing that is don't go up too far when you're in a manic mode. When you feel like the wind is in your sail, don't go too far out to sea. You know. And I got some ideas for potential next season, potential second season for the show, and to try and change it up a good amount, adding to like a seasonal increase, and then season 3 can be even better if everything goes right. It'll be cool. I think my dad might be part lamb, which would mean I'm part lamb. Bah! It must be wild to be an animal these days. 3/4 of people just want to oogle at you, and the other quarter wants to torture and kill you. Unfortunately, if you live in Florida in the last 4 years, that's more like 50-50. It is very, very unfortunate, but there's some very, very bad people that have come here. And it's just like, you know, it is what happens when you allow Zionist policy to take a full effect instead of taking a back seat, like it has for a lot of American history. There's entire different timelines of a butterfly beats its wings just a little bit differently. Imagine how much impact human acts have. Human thoughts, human acts, human decisions, saying, I won't do this bad thing today, I will do this good thing today. Imagine how much that echoes into the future as drastically different timelines. One of the reasons why there's no such thing as a little issue, right? And there's no such thing as an all-consuming issue. That's the only thing that you have to focus on. It is indeed part of the tapestry of life. One of the 10,000 opalescent pearls attached in webs of brilliant fluorescent string. There is some evil-ish going down in Myrtle Beach. Horrible things, fires and rapes. Not good, not good. Did you know the term mayor is derived from the Jewish surname Meyer, which means mother? Some of your ears just perked up, some of your ears just started burning, but I assure you it's not a blood thing, but a behavior thing, and I've talked about this before. Politics, know what I'm saying? Yeah, who died and made you king? Oh, you killed our king? Oh. International bankers be like, actually, it's us. Anyways. So far, I've been underwhelmed by actual Zionist propaganda. They've got grunts and golems all over the place, but they're too dumb. They're actually incredibly dumb. And I expected more after Biden gave them $1,000 trillion. Now, you can kind of see a lot of destruction like all and out destruction, extraction of water, fires everywhere. That is probably where a lot of the investments are going, but they're losing the heart of the people, which is something that they actually did have. They had a mandate of whatever their version of heaven is after the Holocaust, after 1945, after the Holocaust was halted. And unfortunately, what happened with a lot of that is German concentration camps, where the Germans more intellectually were holding people for ransom as hostages, were turned into Soviet death camps. And that's actually a really, really big L in the American court if we think that we were over just all in all out the good guys. We knew. It's a terrible war. Most of us aren't stupid enough, especially the greatest generation that fought World War II. Most of us are not stupid enough to think that this attitude that you see around the Iraq War, that it was good and that war is good. What you see with the Iraq War is a lot of the streamlining, automizing of war, to the point where people aren't really in war and they're not really thinking about it. And the welfare state around the military has absorbed everything else after cutting its peripheries and absorbing and bloating up into a massive welfare state around the military. And I'm not, like, it's not the TRICARE. I'm not at all talking about TRICARE. I'm not at all talking about military pensions. I'm not at all talking about good loans that just occur. What you see is private contractors, defense industry, so the military industrial complex, missile factories. That's where the welfare goes. See, people go into the military thinking that they're going to be a hero and serve. They become very mentally scarred because they come to find out it's a load of bunk, it's a load of crock, and we're not fighting any enemy worth fighting. We're just going in and occupying and extracting. That's it. And they don't get a lot after it, and they get spit on by a lot of people on the far left and the far right. You see it on the far right too. I've seen it. I've heard it, where they spit on military veterans, not specifically because they've served Israel, but because they don't believe that they're worthy of respect as part of the neoliberal order. I get a little bit of sympathy for that, but you're taking it out on the wrong people, you see. Anyways, from Zelensky to Musk, it seems that every Zionist puppet is given a handbook that is one strat. And that strat is when you do something, you're called out for doing something, you find somebody else and you say they're actually the one that's doing something. That's the interesting thing about Musk calling Social Security a Ponzi scheme, is that, as I rambled very quickly, Dogecoin, which is his currency, has no market cap. I've been saying this for over a year now. It has no market cap, meaning there is no metric that makes it worth anything. Technically, if it's not there's no market cap for the currency, it's not technically on a blockchain that matters. It is trading sand in the desert. That's how much it's worth. And that is exactly a Ponzi scheme, since it's encouraging people in blocks, like a multi-level marketing scheme, to buy up your worthless product, and then the only way that you can make your money back is by selling it down the line. And the person who makes the most money is Elon Musk out of the Dogecoin Ponzi scheme. And with Zelensky, you hear the same exact thing being thrown back at Trump and Vance, that they're the ones who are disrespectful, that they're the ones that aren't taking this seriously, when you have rejected 3 separate peace deals since 2014. Absurd logic. Like, sorry, the last guy was a lame duck, but that's not going to be happening anymore, my man. It's not happening. If I can even call Zelensky a man, he's got the attitude of a little child, which is also why a lot of people are depicting J.D. Vance as a child. Because all he had to do was exploit that chink in his armor, that he is a petulant child who thinks that body language matters more than control of your own emotions. That's a Zelensky strat. That's also a Tate strat. Just to let you know that these people always. And by the way, Andrew Tate, despite being a Muslim, despite being like a Muslim pimp, Wahhabist freak, is pro-Israel. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? I don't find it very wild because I see the theosophist glomming together of the Zionist movement and Nazis and Saudis, Wahhabists, which are the jihad-centric philosophy out of Saudi Arabia of Islam. They're all friends because they can serve each other's best interests, and it goes into the tackle box of theosophy that you can pull out what you need when you need it. You see, this has been a thing for 125 years. And it was metered out through Tibet and Switzerland, Israel. I hate to say it, but Taiwan too. That's one of the reasons why they don't have an extradition clause. But more recently, it's coming back into our state, my state, and our country, and it's nasty, man. Yeah, it's really, really nasty. It's very, very ironic that the number one line that is the number one argument that they launch against, and I've seen people pick this up and propagate it with AI and stuff, launch against Muslims is that Muhammad was a pedophile. This is true. Muhammad was a pedophile. That doesn't mean all 2 billion Muslims are pedophiles. And it also doesn't excuse the Jeffrey Epstein-style Mossad-linked pedophilia of Israeli-adjacent Zionists and Zionists in general, and the child trafficking that takes place around the lines that Zionists are deeply attached to in their long-term flesh merchant culture, dating all the way back 3,000 years ago to the Phoenicians, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. So that's that. Oh, you'll have your hate consume you. Nah, buddy. I got it narrowed down to a spear tip. Some people hate everything. That's consumption. I know who, what, when, where, and why, and I have the patience to know when is the appropriate time to put appropriate pressure and where. My hate is not consuming me. In fact, I don't hate that much at all. In general, I don't even think about Zionism that much. It finds me in my algorithm, and nor do I think about how awful car culture has gotten recently, which is kind of like, you know, Venn diagram, the worst people being in the center of malignant car culture, you literally see this in some of the Epstein files, F1 stuff, you know, supercars and things like that, and malignant Zionism, which is to say that there are some benign Zionists that think that they're doing the world a good thing, that think that they're Tekoa Halam healing the world. They think that. They're just being tricked into it. It's sad to see, but it is what it is. Those are my enemies, and I know it. As I said, it's a spear. It's not a 2,000-pound bomb. And I just default to said notes when my brain's not churning properly, you know? I just default to talking about Zionism. I just default to talking about cars when my brain's not working properly because it's something I can lean back on pretty easily. But in general, it's not something that's stuck in my brain all the time. Goy slop. How dare you call Francisco Goya sloppy? Oh, I love Goya beans! The poisoning will not continue. You know, Barron's autism can be amended pretty easily, but I am shocked no disgruntled parents have killed Andrew Tate. I'm shocked at it. It really does goes to show that the millennials, you know, they need to get their stuff together. If they're letting their kids and grandchildren, I guess, yeah, some of us have grandchildren at this point. No, they don't. No way. You have to have a child of 15, and then they'd have to have a child of 15, essentially. Well, I am actually on the younger end of the millennials. Let's just say the millennials' children in Gen Z and Gen Alpha, which is, I guess, the other younger millennials' children, like, they're getting groomed by some of the dumbest people ever because those dumb people deliberately talk in, oh, but you're all going to talk like this, and then other people with speech impediment they're going to yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what the appeal is. I do know, as I pointed out before, that he gets propagated in schools, and you know, that's dire. That's evil. That's so evil that you have a literal pimp and like a really, really nasty and unsuccessful pimp. A lot of pimps like take care of women who are extremely down on luck drug addicts. This guy abuses women, chokes them out, um, kidnaps them. Essentially, he is a absolute monster. But the system, as it's set up, puts those people up on top, and then says, "Actually, no, innocent people are guilty of those crimes because it's the Zionist playbook of know you." Now you gotta be wary. You gotta be wary because it's up to all of us in order to solve this issue. It's up to all of us. Stop romanticizing folly. Stop doing what you know will leave you miserable. There's no way out of it. For instance, I'm shocked seeing some of my moderately left-wing friends barking for U.S. hegemony. Continuing and escalating the proxy war with Russia, that's a left-wing ideal. Why? Because the TV said so? You idiot. Moron. Well, because they're arrested by romanticism. They have arrested political development. Not like I want people to be more political, but that's sad. That's sad to see people who call themselves politically active, who call themselves left-wing, are being more bloodthirsty than the right-wing people, who themselves are at least honest about their pro-war positions. But understand that if you don't want to lose the long war against genuine enemies, you cannot be fighting people that you could potentially call friends. And you shouldn't, nor should you. Keep a high military capacity and a high nuclear capacity as a deterrent, not as a challenge to other people with high nuclear capacities and high military manpower surplus. Never forget, however, that you have a constitutional right to clean water. It's the life in life, liberty, and happiness. And anybody who tries to take that away from you by draining your water up, by poisoning the well, those people are not only legally in the court liable for tort, for damages. That's if you allow that to happen, you're signing away your right to life. I'm not a big Constitution humper, but that is a big true part of our legal system, is that even if it's in the long term, if you can show this is causing people to become more susceptible to damage and destruction, then that's a claim. I think it's funny that the AI fever broke when USAID got cut off, since Microsoft was like, "Yeah, we've collected a ton of data, and it's not helping our our learning models Lambda any better." Elon fudging the numbers and using AI to cast illusion spells, and left-wing pollsters using data and metrics that are completely divorced from reality and suffering on the ground is a flat circle. It's the same exact thing. And mark my words, in a couple of months, Elon Musk will become one of the least popular people in the entire country. I know for a fact it's happening. It's coming along. And if you have Tesla stock, sell that right now. Sell it right now, right now. He does not care about his stocks. He does not care about that at all now that he has access to the treasury. Now that he's going to attempt to drain the United States of all of its resources and giving them crypto tokens in exchange that are completely worthless. Sell your Tesla stock. I don't give a crap what car you decide to buy. If you already bought a Tesla, you're a dumbass. But sell your Tesla stock. That's my financial advice. I tender that honestly, and my prediction is locked in. Elon Musk will become one of the least popular people in the entire country on the left and the right pretty soon. People like Steve Bannon are good catfishes. They got the whiskers out for the earthquakes coming down the line. And I don't trust him on everything, but Bannon is 100% right about Musk. 100% right about Musk. And you see more left-wing people calling him a parasitic immigrant than right-wing people. But they'll come along. They'll come along when they start feeling it. And trust me, they are going to be feeling the decisions of this freak. And Trump is going to reel him back in when he starts chopping up stuff that's incredibly popular, that will end up backlashing on Trump himself and his legacy. Conan O'Brien, aka Inferioris Conanus, is baby maxing pretty fierce. Awfully odd-looking fellow. Speaking of which, those memes of Vice President J.D. Vance photoshopped as a babyface are pretty good. Those are pretty funny. But you can also tell when somebody's genuinely butthurt. You can tell when somebody's genuinely butthurt. And it's so funny. Imagine getting butthurt about that. Imagine getting butthurt about that. Imagine thinking that Zelensky was in the right there. Oh, because English isn't his second language. They ambushed it. Oh my gosh, they're being so unfair. All the entire time, the United States has dictated this non-NATO country's decisions. I'm not even sure if they're in the EU or the League of Nations or whatever. They are a United States vassal state and have been since Zelensky got into office. Before Zelensky was in office, there were Ukrainians walking around the streets with their families, enjoying extremely cheap food, living a good Orthodox Christian life, having kids. And Zelensky destroyed all of that with the United States' help. And a lot of the world really felt like it has ended in 2014. Not because I was class of 2012, because that's a good excuse for why we'd think that. But with the legalization of Roundup Ready soy and all the varieties of horrible political decisions that were meted out by the second administration, the Obama administration, it was really bad. It felt like very much a changing of bad to worse in many different ways, and a horrifically, exponentially escalating way of doing that. And I really hate politics. It's everywhere. I'm glad I can notice how nasty it is to recite easily dated, wishy-washy political points. But it's absorbing everything. It's the new sport, and I hate it. And the season never ends. No, Season 2, above the bell curve, be dialing back on the politics a little bit. It's Blitzkrieg. It's going to fail just as bad as the first Blitzkrieg. Dial it back a little bit. Gotta be more tactical. Gotta know when to hold them, gotta know when to fold them, and I don't want to hold politics no more. It's sickening. So, I got a great idea for new tech. Glasses that have 4 rectangle button cameras for widescreen 720 to 1080p, full coverage, 2 on the sides, 1 on a lanyard that ties to the back of your head, 1 in between the lenses. That would be really good for like a personal dash cam that you could carry with you at any times. Unfortunately, just like with Jonathan Yaniv and the Google glasses, you could expect it to get abused by perverts walking into women's bathrooms. It's unfortunate. Hopefully these days the women will just legally be allowed to pull out their nunchucks that every woman carries around in their purse and just breaks the glasses. Everybody should be willing to stand alone. When you do it correctly, you stand for most people. When you do it incorrectly, you stand completely alone, but even in a spiritual sense. However, people flock into small groups, cliques, for protection because of cowardice, because of... and that's exactly where you get the most dangerous children, is young boys who have flocked into cliques. Those are the ones that always end up... You won't find an individual boy abusing an animal, but you will find a group of 5 young boys abusing an animal. It's a very, it's an unattuned peer pressure and competition, and it's a very, very nasty metric that can actually make it so that the kids ain't all right. There's something to notice. People flock into small groups for protection and end up getting herded like farm animals, you see. You gotta know, you gotta think, you gotta exercise your free will. That's... Don't eat moldy cheese. Don't eat moldy cheese like me. All your riz will dissipate in a miasma. It's not the strat. Mind your strats. Mind your soul. Do good. See you tomorrow. Cheers.